When I was growing up, the music that I listened to was whatever was in my dad's record album collection, 8-track collection. That's what we had in the house. And then when you turn on the radio, it was whatever Casey Kasem and later on Rick Dees played for you in the top 40 countdown. That was it until my parents got a divorce. And my mom moved my dad's best friend into our house. He had also just recently got divorced and he needed a place to stay for a few months, get back on his feet and get out on his own. And this also helped out my mom because she was now in a one-income household and she was going to make a big change, which she did. We sold everything off, sold off the house, moved out of town, started a whole new life. But in that brief window of a few months, we had this guy living in our house. Now, he was the singer, guitarist from my dad's band. My dad played bass, and they would always practice in our spare room. Well, now that spare room was this guy's new room, and he had a weight bench and weights, and he would exercise every day because he's now a new single guy. He's got to go out and date, right? And he would listen to hard rock music. And a few months later, when he was ready to move, he gave me one of those hard rock cassettes. And here it is, Rat, out of the cellar. This is from 1984, but he gave it to me in 1987. This was the first album ever given to me by anyone. So this is my first piece of music for my own collection. It was their first album, and as an adult, I would later go on to meet founder, singer, songwriter Stephen Pearcy. Got a picture with him, got his autograph, and I also got to meet cover model Tawny Katane. Got her autograph of this picture, got a picture with her. She then went on to be the cover model and in the music videos for Whitesnake. That's where everyone knows her from, but she came from Rat. So it's around this time that I was now trying to not be embarrassed at school. I was at that age like 12, and you're noticing girls and you're wanting them to notice you and not laugh at you. And up till then, I just kept getting the same bowl haircut from Super Clips while growing up that my mom would get me, $6 haircut, right? And now I was like, I can't do this anymore. So I just stopped getting my haircut for it had been about a year and a half. And then my mom said, well, everyone at school, the guidance counselor, everyone started noticing your hair is getting really, really long. And at that time in the past, boys did not have long hair. They did prior to my time, my dad's time, hippie time. And after that, then everyone had long hair. But at that time, I was kind of a weird anomaly. And I was really doing it to try to save myself from embarrassment. But now I was starting to stand out again. So my mom said, look, my dad's friend that had been living with us and now moved out, he now had a girlfriend and his girlfriend cuts hair. You can go to her. I'll take you there and you can pick out any haircut you want. Your choice. So I was like, here we go. This is my chance. Now, in my mind, for a while now, I had been thinking the coolest haircut I've seen recently that I want is David Bowie from Labyrinth. That hair he had. And I said, can you do that for me? And she said, sure.
You're him, aren't you? You're the Goblin King.
Well, when we got there for her to cut my hair, it turned out she was still a student learning how to cut hair, and it was in her garage, and she was just needing people to experiment on. And so she experimented on me, and you know what she gave me? She gave me like a buzz cut with a rat tail in the back. It looked ridiculous. Actually, it was like 3 rat tails. So that was it. I was done. No more haircuts for Kevin. I went like 3-4 years without getting a haircut. Here it is now, 1988. The summer's beginning. We're in a new town. 8th grade is done. I'm going to be starting high school when the summer's over. And I'm at a new apartment complex. And at the pool, I meet this guy, Sean, kid. Meet a kid, Sean. My friend Sean. I've talked about him in a million videos. At this point now, my hair's kind of growing in. It's kind of moppy. Got these long rat tails coming out, whatever. But anyways, he introduces me to some new bands. First one was Guns N' Roses, Appetite for Destruction. He gave me this cassette. And when I listened to it, I'm like, man, not only is this awesome, but the last song on here, Rocket Queen, I swear I heard this coming out of some teenager's Camaro back in my hometown, like at midnight from a gas station or something. I don't know. But there you go. He also introduced me to the Scott Ian 1-2 Punch, Anthrax, I Am the Man, and Stormtroopers of Death, Speak English or Die. holy cow, I love these. But one more band he introduced me to, Metallica. Now, their latest release at the time was this. It had come out the year before. This is called the 598 EP, Garage Days Revisited. So when I was, Sean had went to see them on tour in 86. They were the opening act for Motley Crue. They were touring for their album, Master of Puppets. And I don't know how young you people are, but nobody knew who Metallica was until the end of the 80s. Then some people knew who they were. By the early 90s, everyone knew who they were. But this is before then. So on that tour, that's when the bus accident killed their bassist, Cliff Burton, and they had to get a new bassist. And they brought him in the studio and said, let's just record some cover songs like we did back when we were a garage band and see how we gel with you, and then we'll go record a new album. So they put those songs out. It was this cassette, and after that they would record a new album. That was the And Justice for All album. That came out when I was in ninth grade, so it was later that year, 1988. That would be the first album I got from them, and they put out their first music video on MTV, One. And my ninth grade science teacher actually would play that music video for us in class. So that's where people started knowing of this band. Anyways, we would see them in tour a couple of times back in 1991 or 2 or 3. I mean, each of those years, back when they cost $17 to go see Metallica and they play for 3 hours, they come right to your town. So this is before all then. I'm looking at this and I'm referring to it as Garage Days Revisited. And that's when Sean corrected me. He said it's revisited. I'm like, why? I said, well, they had a Garage Days Revisited where they revisited their garage days by doing cover songs. And that came out. This is like a sequel to it. So it's referring to that. This is the revisited. I'm like, oh, well, let me hear Revisited. And he said, I don't have it. I don't know anyone that has it. I don't know anyone that's seen it. I don't know what's on it. It came out before the before times, you know? You can't get Garage Days Revisited. Well, fast forward a couple of years. It's now 1991. We're working at the bowling alley and we're going off to see Metallica. There's a coworker there and he goes, hey, you know, I have Garage Days Revisited, the original one. Well, he was just like everyone else we met back then that supposedly had whatever super rare thing you always wanted to see. He had it. And he said the same thing that everybody back then said, that would always have the thing you wanted. They had it. They were the special one. Oh, I keep it in a bank vault. I don't take it out for anyone. Sorry, I can't show it to you. It's too valuable. Yeah, I don't think anyone ever had anything back then. It was just everyone they want to be the special one, right? Well, here it is 38 years later, and I decided I got to find out what Garage Days Revisited is. I found out what it was, and then I had to get it, and I got it. So Metallica put out their first album, 1983. They're able to go on a little American tour. They're basically a broke band. They're living hand to mouth, whatever that saying means. They get signed to a bigger label, and now they can record a second album, and now they can go on tour of Europe. But they're going to head to Europe. They got to promote themselves out there. So they put out 2 singles, European-only singles. The first one, Jump in the Fire. This was a song from their first album, and then on the B-side is a couple fake live tracks. And then the second one, Creeping Death. This is a song from their brand new second album that they just put out and we're going to go tour on. And on the B-side are 2 cover songs from bands they listened to when they were a garage band. And they titled the B-side, Garage Days Revisited. This is it. This European exclusive single. That's Garage Days Revisited. Now, in the early 90s, you could get import CDs, and I actually saw these as CD singles imported from Europe. As CDs, they did not label the B-side Garage Days Revisited because there is no B-side to a CD. So even though I had seen these, and I had the songs, those 2 songs were released on the original 1988 CD version of their 1983 album, so I had the songs all along. It's just nobody knew what Garage Days Revisited was, and I don't have a cassette player to play this, and I don't need to. I listen to them playing them on my phone all the time. It doesn't matter. I just wanted the cassette, and now I have it. I don't know what it means or if it matters, but it matters to me, so I have it. Well, later that summer, I go off to Italy. My mom is trying to reconnect with her family. She fled the home country at 16 years old in 1967, and here it is, 1988. She's going to make her first trip back to see her parents, her brothers, her sisters, her cousins, her nephews, and nieces, whatever. First time back in 21 years. And we spend 6 weeks there, but we don't get back until a week into the school year. This is now high school. So look at the picture here. My parents have divorced. My best friend of 7 years had just died. We're in a new town now. I'm now in high school. I'm a week late. Everybody there is a new fresh face. They all know each other. They all grew up together. My home life is complete chaos and turmoil. And that was it. I kind of like put up the walls, kept to myself, and became somebody who lived in my bedroom. All I did was draw and exercise. From then on, solitary endeavors. And I happened to live right next to my high school, and I would walk there. Well, at midnight, I would also walk there. And back then, you could just walk right onto school grounds at any time, day or night. Nothing was fenced in, locked up, nothing. And I would run the track, mile after mile, starting at midnight. Why? Why did I not join the track team during the day? The coach even asked me, why don't you just join track? I don't know. I just didn't want to have anything to do with anyone or anything. In fact, during the day, I immediately got on the work program. Yes, this was ninth grade, so I was too young to have a job. So I wasn't required to have a job, but they still let you on the work program. So I got school credit to leave school and go to work, but wasn't required to have a job. So I just stayed home doing my thing and got school credit for it. And I got so much, I actually graduated early. So I don't have any high school memories actually taking place at high school. Those years of my life are not, the memories are not at school. They're from outside of school. And that includes running track all night, every night in the darkness to the very first album I ever bought myself. This is Slayer's South of Heaven from 1988. This was their new album at the time, and I would listen to this at night while running. And here it is in 2026, and I still go out in the middle of the night and I run for hours and I listen to the same music I grew up on. Crazy. I'll see you next time.